Hello, my name is Carol Denicker, and I am the director of New York Hypnosis Training Center and North Shore Hypnosis. And I'm very excited today because I am going to be interviewing Eugen Popa from Romania. He is going to be coming to teach his very effective and powerful technique in New York, and that is going to be in April. And so the first thing I'd like to do is say, hello, Eugen.
Hey, Carol, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's wonderful to see you again.
Wow, it's wonderful to see you again, too. So the first thing I'd like to ask is, I'd like to know a little bit more about you and what led you to this technique, and anything else you'd be willing to share with us. I'd be
All right.
happy to hear.
Awesome. So my name is Eugen Popa. I'm from Romania, like you said. Should I go in talking about my star signs and stuff? Right.
That you were born in a log cabin?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. No, actually, I'm a city boy. I was born in Bucharest, which is capital of Romania. It's about 3 million people right now. So it's not as big as New York, but it's a fairly big city. And so I've been doing hypnosis for about 6-7 years now. And in 2014, I think it was in January or February, something like that, or December, I don't remember. But no, it was in January, February 2014. I was talking to a good friend of mine. His name is also Eugen, and he was living in Finland at the time, or Iceland. And so he was telling me he's also interested in hypnosis, and he was like, did you hear about this technique? He was calling it subliminal therapy. And I was like, oh yeah, subliminal messages. And he says, no. It might get you off on the wrong track saying subliminal message, but that's not it. And I said, well, I'm a curious guy. So I said, well, tell me about it. So we were doing this just like I'm talking to you now, and he was doing me basically, right? I said, show me how it's done. And so he's done a session with me on subliminal therapy over Skype. Like I said, a lot of people are getting confused over the name because subliminal, as you know, people think about something under the radar, and people don't like to be led. They don't like to be unconsciously ruled, so to speak. So when I was talking to Dr. Yager, who created this technique, he in the meantime changed the name from subliminal therapy to either Yagerian Therapy or Centrum Technique or Centrum Therapy. And I'll come back to that in a moment. So anyway, I was talking to my friend, and we've done this session, and I just fell in love with the technique. And I said, oh, that's awesome. That's great, because it's so simple. I mean, it's like, I have to say it is the simplest and most effective technique I've encountered so far, and I've done a lot of research, I might say. And then I started using it. I bought the book, and I started practicing the technique. And then in December 2014, we invited Dr. Yager to Romania, where he gave a 3-day certification training, which is the same that we are planning to do in New York in April 2017. So basically, he gave a 3-day certification training, and that's how I also became a trainer with subliminal therapy. So that's how I got into it. I got into it in January 2014, and for the full year, about 70-80% of my therapy sessions, I've employed subliminal therapy, and it was amazing. I mean, sessions like 15-20 minutes.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful to get to the heart of the matter and to achieve permanent resolve in that kind
Absolutely.
of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's as good as it gets. Absolutely. Okay, so you touched a bit on Dr. Yager,
Yeah.
but I am curious about the origin of the technique.
Yes. So Dr. Yager, Edwin K. Yager, that's his full name, Ed Yager. Friends call him Ed. He's one of the most amazing people I've met in my life. He's 92 years old now, I think, 91, 92, and he completely breaks my arm. If I want to do arm wrestling with him, he's gonna crush me. He's like probably the strongest man I've met in my whole life, both mentally and physically. He's very, very strong physically at 91 years old, and he's also traveling the world teaching his method. And Dr. Yager, it's a very, very nice person. He started studying psychology around 45. Until then, he was an engineer, and so he was, I think, a mechanical engineer or something like that. And then he kind of got fed up with that, and then he started to study psychology. He's got a PhD in psychology, and he's also been teaching at the University of San Diego in California. And so together with his friend, they were kind of mingling with how the mind works. And then he came up with this method that he initially called subliminal therapy. And the reason he called it so, I want to talk a little about what subliminal means, because the general public, when they hear about subliminal, they say it's subliminal messages. And it's happening under the radar, and I don't know what you're telling me and what you're doing to me, and I don't want to hear that.
Right.
And so if you look into the dictionary, subliminal means under the level of the conscious mind. And that's exactly what the technique does. However, you are not giving subliminal messages to the people. You are actually talking to the subconscious mind. Yeah, you're actually talking to the subconscious mind of the person, of the client, and you are asking it to fix the problem beneath the level of the consciousness of the being. And that's why he called it subliminal, because the work is done underneath, and the client doesn't know and doesn't need to know what's going on. It's like the subconscious mind comes back and says, job done. And that's it, problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, like I said, he's an amazing person, and he came up with this technique and he refined it, and he's been doing it for like 40 something years. However, the technique has not been widely known or accepted. However, even though Dr. Yager has done a lot of research with it and has a lot of case studies to prove the effectiveness of the technique.
Well, I have watched you on video and seen. It was nice to get a glimpse of it and seeing how it proceeds along, and it certainly is very acceptable techniques, but so greatly simplified, and that's what really made me excited about it. We're going to have you at my wellness center training, but I shall be one of your students.
Thank you. I'll be very honored.
I get the unique opportunity of being a student in my school very often, and I really appreciate being able to learn there.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you cleared that up about subliminal therapy. It is not subliminal messages. Yeah. And actually, any work we do in hypnosis is all subliminal therapy, is it not?
To a certain extent, yeah, absolutely, yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. However, now Dr. Yager, just because he doesn't want to get into this all the time, explaining subliminal, what it means and so on, like I said, now he's calling it Yagerian Therapy, or like I said, and the way we're going to present it is centrum technique or the centrum therapy.